Hi everyone, welcome to Life Prepared. I wanted to show you really briefly how I'm making these really cute paper beads. And it really is an almost free craft that anyone can do, and I think they turn out absolutely beautiful. What do you think? Simple. I want to use them for dangles on my scrapbooking, making bookmarks and such. So anyway, let me show you what you're going to need. The supplies are super simple. You need some kind of glue. Good old school glue works great. You're going to need something to wrap your beads around. Oops, I happen to be sitting on mine right now. I use a kebab skewer that I cut down to make it a little bit more manageable. I just cut the end off, and I glued a bead on the end, so when I'm rolling I have like a little handle. But it's not necessary. You can use a knitting needle would work really great. They won't tend to stick to the wood at all. You're going to need a ruler of some sort. This happens to be a quilting ruler. You don't have to have a quilting ruler. A regular ruler will work good. And you need some form of cutting instrument, whether it be scissors or a razor knife will work fine. Or in my case, since I have it, I use my rotary cutter. This is an old blade that's not good for fabric anymore, so it works perfect for cutting paper. Your bead is going to depend on what color strips you're cutting. So this one makes the ones that are green and kind of pink together. I have some that I use primarily blue, but let me show you what to look for. I've been cutting some of this pink already. I look for something that has mostly color, very little words. This section here, I'm not so sure it's going to work out well, but when I get to it, I'll determine that. What I want is color at the top and at the bottom. And this section here I'm going to cut off because I do not want the end of my beads when they get to be pink at the tip to have the black in there. So I'm just simply going to trim that off. It only makes the bead, such a tiny bit difference in size, it doesn't matter. So another thing that you can look for is something like this. These are magazine pages. Again, I haven't decided. I'm going to cut a couple because at the start this will be fine. This will be hidden in the bead, but when I cut from the other direction, which I'll show you in just a second, it'll end with these colors, and I'm not sure yet if I'm going to use that. So always do a couple test beads. If I don't like it, I'll just simply cut it off right here. I love this blue right here. This one's going to make really pretty beads. Again, I want to do it for me. I only want blue and white ones. I'm going to trim the color off here, and I will trim. I might leave this little bit of yellow because I like the blue and yellow together, but I'm going to trim this off. So I'm going to trim here and trim here before I start cutting my beads. Let me show you how easy this is. Super, super easy. So any strip of paper that you want. Now this does have a little bit of black in it. It's not going to matter all that much. I simply take my ruler. This is already cut at an angle because I was cutting a few beads. So I start where the end is the smallest. Let me make sure I got you in frame here. And I put my ruler right at the very tip. On this end, I just go down to however wide I think I want my bead to be. And because I have the rotary cutter, it makes this really easy. You could draw a line, you can use your razor knife, you can use scissors, it doesn't matter. And I simply cut my strips. I use fat at one end, and then it tapers down to really skinny at the other end. And you don't have to. You can make perfectly, beads that are symmetrical all the way down. But I happen to like, now, this is going to end with a very light colored tip because I'm going to start rolling at the fat end. If I want the tip to be a darker color, I make that the very tip of my bead, or of my cut, I should say. So I'm going to cut approximately from this to there, making a super simple cut. This one's going to have little flecks of black in it, but that's mostly going to be hidden. And my tip will end up in these colors right here. This is what you're going to see the most. So that's it. Choosing a paper and cutting a bunch of strips is the beginning. To make the bead itself is just as easy. Let me choose one that we just cut here so I can show you what I do. Okay, I set you up so I can show you really quick how to make one of these things. And I'm going to need glue and my little stick. You can see I've been working for a while. It's kind of changed the little colors here. But here's that strip I just cut. It's going to be lighter at one end, and this is one that's going to be light at the one end. What I do is I take it and I kind of bend it a couple times just to get it kind of started. And then this is probably the toughest part of the whole thing, is just to get it started. Once you get it going, I get a couple turns on it, and then I just take a little bit of glue. You don't need a whole lot because it's going to squeeze out everywhere, which is okay because that's going to keep our bead intact, but you kind of have to work at it just a little bit to get it going. And once it gets going, it's just a matter of winding it up. And see how the glue's starting to squeeze out? When I get to the very end, I just kind of keep spreading that glue all over the bead, and it kind of, you know, makes it stay intact a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to need a little bit more glue towards this end now. Just going to put a dot here. The most important part is at this tip down here, because if not, the tip kind of springs up and then you don't get it in there. So just going to keep winding it all the way to the tip. It takes a couple of times, but I mean, I haven't done this in so many years, and I picked it up in minutes, so it's not a big deal. And I take the excess glue. That's why I keep the handy wipe. I should have told you need a baby wipe too, or something to wipe your fingers off on. Helps a lot. Wipe my fingers off. There's my bead. I just pull it off and I put it onto a piece of parchment paper and allow it to dry. Sometimes I get a little stuck, a little bit of strength, but nothing major. There you go. Nice pink bead. And you don't really see the words that much. You see, if you don't like the little flecks of black, don't use words. Otherwise, it just looks like part of the design. So anyway, quick and easy project for today.